Family, if you are an aspiring content creator, I think you should watch this video to the end. It's going to cover 3 lies, and I think if you even get to believe in one of them, it can kill your chances of that career that you want so desperately. Now, none of what I'm going to share here is theory. I have been doing full-time content creation for 13 years at this point, and I've coached hundreds of people, so I've seen the game from so many different angles. I've experienced highs, lows. Depending on how you're counting, I've experienced 3 to 4 ad apocalypses. I've had to hire people, fire people. I've came up doing this thing with my family, and I've had to learn a way to do it without sacrificing my family, sacrificing my faith. I have 5 kids. I've been married 15 years, and so I get the stress, the demand it can put on all things life. And I see a lot of the wisdom out there. Or not even wisdom. I see a lot of the tips, the tricks, the advice on there. I think there's a lot of great information. And I don't think this video is some standalone piece of the puzzle for you guys if you want to be a full-time creator. But I think it should be the core of your strategy. And I think it's going to give you some of the best chances. And I see a lot of creators that want to do well and they're working really, really hard. But because they're violating this, they have no chance. That's just plain and simple, and I think it's way easier and way accessible these days than people think, even though there's more people joining by the day. I actually think it's never been easier, and we'll get into it in the web class, but you actually don't have to be super uber famous and a lot of views and all this to genuinely make a full-time real income. In this part, please acknowledge, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on. I am not a fortune teller, but I'm just saying, looking at the state of the economy as I'm posting this, some of the disruption that AI is doing, and we've already seen in industries, I think now makes sense to just start learning new skills and ways to take your income into your own hands at some level. And I think there are more people equipped with skills than they believe, and people that could make a full-time living if they would just apply themselves. All right. So please enjoy this web class here. It is a little bit lengthy, but if you're serious, I think you're going to get some good information out of it. Okay. Now, this initially sold into a coaching program that is full. And so this is just free game, but I got some of my best feedback on this web class, and I've done a lot of web classes. Now, at the end, I'll be back. It's just a quick little outro. That coaching offer, like I said, is not there, but I have something different way at the end if you make it there. Okay, but this is all free game. I hope it blesses you. If it did, please let me know down in the comments. And if you are a current content creator, so this is for more aspiring or creators that are struggling a little bit just to get like a foundation to your business. If you are a successful, more established content creator doing like 5 figures and up per month and you want to work together, I'll leave my email below to reach out to me. All right. But with that, enjoy the web class. I'll see you guys at the end. I believe there are 3 lies keeping content creators from the success they are looking for. And if you believe even one of these, I can prove to you with mathematical certainty that you are headed on a path of frustration. And so not only do you want to avoid these 3 lies, you want to replace them with the truth, not another lie. But once you gain the 3 truths on the other side of those lies, I believe you'll have more clarity, both in who you are and who you're serving and why you're doing it, your mission. I believe you'll have more consistency, both in your output as a creator and in your circumstances and your followers and your finances, because we know how up and down that can be. And then lastly, confidence. And that's so important in yourself, but also in what you're putting out to the world, right? And so if that makes sense to you, and if you at any point aspired to be a content creator, or maybe you're already doing it, maybe at like a hobby or a beginner level, you want to step your game up. If you are some sort of expert, course creator, coach, author, anyone with a message that they're trying to get out to the world, I think you should pay attention. All right, because my promise to you, by the end of this video, you'll have the blueprint to build a successful 6-figure and beyond content creation business. All right, that's what I've been able to do. I've been able to scale this into the multiple 7 figures. But my guarantee to you is that you'll have the basic strategy and framework to execute on that. And that's what you want, man. So many people are running around in this information age, first off, trying to skip steps, but secondly, just looking for the quick fix, looking for the quick tactic. And I just want you to think about it for a second. If it was that easy, everyone that watched a video on thumbnails would be going viral. Okay, it would only take 2 videos on the algorithm, then everybody would be doing great. It's so much deeper than that, and the strategy is what's most important. Because what we're going to talk about today is going to require you to possibly change your beliefs, change your character traits, change who you are as a person. And that's why it hurts. And that's why most people don't want the strategy. Okay. And that's why most people don't actually get the career that they want. All right. So there's two reasons I'm making this. First off, we're going to get into my story here in a little bit, but I've been doing this over 10 years full time. And I've been coaching people how to do what I've been doing for 7 years. And people know that. So naturally, I get a lot of questions. Okay, I got people in the DM sending me their SoundCloud, their podcast, their TikTok. I just want some quick tips, quick advice. And I'm going to be honest, 99% of you guys are doing it wrong, and you're violating one of these lies, or you're believing one of them. And so I want something to send everybody to. Okay, sometimes family, friends. Was at an event the other day. 3 people had a podcast or that they're starting. And off the rip, they're just going about it the wrong way. Right? Everybody wants to get into content creation. Everybody wants to do what they see someone doing, but they're making crucial mistakes by just copying and pasting from the outside. So we're going to solve that here today. All right. And so my goal is to deliver pure value, 100% free, no credit card swipes. I just hope it honestly gets you going on the right path. And I promise you that's my first goal. It has to be, because my second goal is that I like to coach people. I told you I've been doing this for 7 years. But we've transitioned our model over the years, and we're 100% more of a premium pricing. Okay, our coaching, even our courses, is on the higher end. All right, I'm expensive. Okay, there's a lot of reasons behind that. Okay, but I genuinely like working with people that are serious, that are committed, that know what they want to do, and so we bump the prices up. Okay, and so that cuts out a lot of people that I still want to serve, and so I want my free stuff to be amazing, because I want you to be able to take it, use it. You might have to get a little bit scrappy, figure a few things out, Google it, YouTube, okay? That's what some of these platforms are for. But you'll have the framework. You go apply it here. You go make some money. Then you come back to your boy, okay? And I'm going to show you how to take that to the next level. Now, if you are listening, you got a little bit of change in your pocket, and what I'm saying makes sense, listen all the way to the end, because at the very, very end, I'll show you how you could potentially work with me. But up until then, 100% free game. Again, I hope you get value out of this. All right. Now, I do want to go into my story a little bit just so you know who I am. I'm going to speed through it. Most of you guys seeing this should be aware. Okay. So you know your boy, you know my character. I hate talking about myself. Okay. I hate doing it. I love to be humble. I realize, though, there's a lot of people on the internet faking the funk, pretending they do things that they don't really do. So I like to show people that I actually know what I'm talking about, and I actually am who I say I am. So I'm going to breeze through my story just to give you context. I'll even give you some places you can do further research on your boy, where you can find me doing this live in action, because not only am I in the trenches with other content creators helping them do this, and so I'm seeing the game from different angles, I'm still doing it myself, managing a team, and so very much on the forefront of all this, okay? So let's get into my story. Now, I guess technically, for context, my story really begins as is relevant to you guys. It's just in my childhood, man, grew up broke, so broke people thought we were broke. And so, yeah, growing up, that was a big goal. Didn't want to be that way, okay? Super duper fast forward. We're going to skip a lot, okay? Skip a lot of trauma, skip a lot of anxiety, a lot of ups and downs, but oh, is God good. Let's fast forward to your boy getting married, having my first daughter, all right? That's me on the left, working at a radio station right here, Power 106. We would do these street hits. Like, I was the guy that would be on the corner giving out concert tickets. I'd have all the movie tickets, like free DVDs. So that was kind of cool. But I didn't make a lot of money. And what really sparked my entrepreneurial journey was my boss telling me, leading up to my daughter being born, he was like, I'm going to give you at least a week off, man, at least, so you can spend that time with your family. Long story short, that time came. He didn't give me that off. I got the day she was born, and then he called me in the next day. I was pissed. I was livid. I wanted to go in there swinging, fighting, but I needed that job. I just had this new baby. I could not quit. So I sucked it up. I went to work, and I worked part-time. Like, I was part-time on the schedule, but they would work me full-time. And I worked so much that here was a picture my wife took of them just coming up to one of the street hits that I was doing just to spend time with your boy. And so I spent that first night where I had to go into work. I spent that night Googling how to make money online. I got into everything. We'd be here all day, but if there was a way to make money from little spam click pop-up things to launch jacking, SEO, local small businesses, all that stuff, helping them with their marketing, I did all that. And this was one of my profile pictures at the time when I was trying to be super cool, pretending I was a marketer, making a whole lot of money. Nah, this ninja was broke. And actually, he still worked at the radio station, as you can see in the back. I would try to crop that out. You had to get like little circle profile pic, right? I try to do something like that. But that was the grind, right? Fast forward again a little bit. My wife, super supportive, actually allowed your boy to quit the job just to pursue this dream of mine, to not have a boss, not have a job. So I went full time, okay, and trying to make online marketing work. And here's what's crazy. We lived in an apartment. I was working from home. The apartment had 2 rooms in it, so it wasn't even some big apartment. There was a day where my 6-month-old daughter, Lorraine, was crying. And I ran in there, to stop her from crying, to pick her up. And she just would not stop crying. And it wasn't just one of those things where, like, she wanted to be with mommy. And it was like, all right, cool. No, like the way, every time I think about it or I tell the story, I even start to get emotional, man, because the way she looked at me was if I was a stranger. And the reason that was because even though I worked at home, there was days I wanted it so bad, man. I would work 48 hours straight. Okay, like I'm not talking like, quick little nap. I'm talking about I didn't sleep, man. And I would just stay up and I just stay in that room. I was trying to figure it out because of the pain that I felt not having the money to do the things that I wanted for my family, right? But that day, man, where I picked her up and she wouldn't stop crying and I handed her to her mom and she just calmed down, I was like, nah, there will never be a day where I'm a stranger to my own kid. And something was birthed in me then, and I realized the game was bigger and I had to figure out ways of leverage. Because if I was only committed to just trading time for money and nickeling and diming, like I could only have so much time in the day. And so I had to try to disconnect my income from that so I could be with my family. And so that was huge. And that sparked a lot of things in me, a lot of shifts. Nothing was immediately outside of our relationship, I would say rebuilding. That was quick. But on the business end, it took me a while to figure some things out still. One of the major, I feel like the really big first more online success I had of my own. I had done some cool stuff with network marketing, but when I created my own product, I decided, you know what? Let me help people get better at a video game called Madden. I launched a site called Madden Mastermind. Long story short, to get traffic to the website, I started a YouTube channel. Again, super long story short, started to meet people on there, showed me the potential on YouTube that you can make money. I was like, say what? And then the YouTube became bigger than even the website. And so I like to show this. This was my upgrade to my upgraded setup at this time. And I was in the 10 figures range, like monthly, making 10 figures with that type of setup. And so there's a lot of people thinking that, man, I don't got what it takes to, and this was over a decade ago. And so the iPhones were not what they are now. The type of software and equipment that is out today that on an affordable level is night and day. And so do not let your lack of resources stop you. Please be resourceful and let God work as long as you're going to work as well. And again, I'm going to speed through some things, but man, God has been good. All right. Over 1 million followers on YouTube. We have worked with some of the biggest celebrities, actors, athletes in the game, some of the biggest brands in the world. I've been all over the world traveling to do things, and it's been amazing, man. I really can't complain. And then it's completely changed the broke kid, all right, from Duke City, who, of course, wanted to do these things, wanted to travel the world, wanted to have the sexy, amazing wife. I got that way before content creation. Wifey's a ride or die, but like I wanted to give her this. And when we were getting married in front of my mom's fireplace, I knew I had all the desire to, I just didn't know how. And I'm grateful that I invested the time and energy to learn the skills to not only change my life, but my family's life. And things are going amazing though. Like I said, everything's on the up and up, making the most money I'd ever made, doing things that I never thought I'd do, meeting people that I never thought I'd meet. Again, I grew up a gamer, whooping my brother in Mortal Kombat when I was younger on Sega. And then here I am now in 3 different video games. People wanted me to put me in their games, and that's just been a blessing. But as all of this is going, man, my wife started to develop some weird symptoms. Okay. To the point where this is her low key relearning how to walk after being paralyzed from the waist down out of nowhere. Like, we were at church doing like a little skit. We come home. She takes a nap and is like, babe, I can't move my legs. Like, say what? And this just led to years of us just trying to figure out. And honestly, in ways we're still trying to figure a lot out. At the moment, she's diagnosed with EDS type 3, which is a rare connective tissue disorder. And from that, comes a lot of things. She has POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, something like that. She got so many long syndromes and things she's dealing with. But if you follow our channels or you follow us on social media, you've seen it. Like, she'll stand up, her heart rate might shoot to 200 beats. When we were at the Super Bowl, we would walk up the ramp a little bit to our seats. We had to sit down in front of everyone on the floor as her heart rate was coming down. Everyone looking at us like we crazy. But like, I had all this going on in the height of our success. And so that just caused such a whirlwind between me and God and rearranging it, especially the cookie cutter view I had of God. And that was powerful. But also, I just realized life didn't stop, right? Like, we continue to have kids. We have Lavelle on the left. Now we got baby Lyric in the middle. They're much older now. I'm just saying in this time frame as things were going on. And the health would not stop. And I wished and I hoped and I prayed that, sometimes the sickness would say, hey, you know what? I know you've had a long day. It's been a lot. You worried about this. We're going to let your wife feel okay today. But, I mean, she's waking up every day in pain. Some days she can't walk. Doctors have no answers, no clues. And I'm just watching my wife suffer, right? Worried she's just going to die. And I found myself in this weird crisis where I had the family that I loved. I had the success I wanted. I had fame. I had a connection with God. So I had thought, and I don't even want to say that I didn't. I just want to say I was in such a turmoil in this moment in my life because I had checked off the achievements on my vision board. I had did the things I said I wanted to do. And so I thought I was supposed to be happy and fulfilled. But ironically, this was the only time in my life I had ever felt suicidal. Up to that point, like, growing up, had been broke, been in tough situations. Like, we were happy, and I grew up in a home full of love. My parents were divorced off and on. What was never really close to my dad, even up to his death years back. But like, my home was full of love, and I just never was like depressed. Never felt depressed, never felt suicidal growing up. And it was so odd to me, as I was someone to millions of people. I had made millions of dollars, had the best family you could ask for, but still wasn't fulfilled. That was super concerning to me. And that birthed a deep soul searching and a new mission inside of me. And as you see, we even had our son, shout out to DJ, Dion Jr., and my girls are much bigger now. And I've had to learn that life is bigger than just business. Like, purpose, I thought, was always in my career. And when you hear people talk about it, that's all they talk about with their purpose, as I'm meant to be an author. I'm meant to be a this, a that. And it's like, purpose is in your relationship with God. You have purpose in your relationships. You have purpose in your health. Okay. Like, your body is, the Bible says your body is God's temple. And when you look at the care that the temple was taken care of in the Old Testament, it's like, why would we disrespect this thing? And so when I got a more four-dimensional full perspective on purpose, it changed the game for me. It changed the mission, and it changed my experience with reality, because I realized life is similar to like a board game. Let's say Monopoly. You could build up all the pieces, all the wealth, but when you die, the pieces got to go right back in the box for other people to play with. And it's not really your game. And there are people that have businesses, that have wealth, that aren't happy. People that are celebrities that aren't happy. People that have kids, families, wives that aren't happy. And I had to realize that the happiness wasn't in a thing outside of me. It was an internal thing. And that birthed a huge mission, like I said, based off of the transformation it did inside of me. And we've gone beyond just the actual content creation coaching. We started coaching men in all different facets. We got people losing over 100 pounds, people turning around marriages on the brink of divorce, estranged from kids, rebuilding relationships. Like, just so much has changed. And it's birthed a 4-dimensional perspective towards even teaching content creation for me. And I'm going to leave it there. That, again, that's my story. I just wanted to give you perspective on where I'm coming from, the things that I've been through, the things I've done, and why I teach the way that I do. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the lesson. So the first lie that creators are believing that is hindering their success is that the views should be the priority, right? They want a situation more like this top one right here. Oh, I'm moving everything around. Hold on. I'm supposed to be writing. They have situations where they want the millions of followers, right? They think this is the key to success. They want the engagement. But let me tell you something. That on its own is not the key to making a lot of money, especially because these platforms don't pay you a lot. Like, having 1 million followers on TikTok, on YouTube, millions of views, like, you're getting cents per view. That's why you need millions of them to be successful on the actual platform. And if that's your strategy, not very many people will ever hit that. And that's just being honest. But I want you to think about all of the billionaires, all of the millionaires that don't have millions of followers. Okay. That's because the money isn't in the followers. Like, you can get followers for some really dumb things. But if you can get very specific with the who, again, not just any followers, but exactly who you are creating content for and who you are following, there are situations where someone with 4 million followers is getting outperformed in terms of earnings as someone with 400 followers. And even if you aren't trying to prioritize earnings, even if you were trying to prioritize impact or just build or skill building, it's still better for you to narrow down your focus. What do I mean by this? Instead of targeting, so for example, when we first got started, we were doing Madden content, okay? And there's a lot of people that were doing Madden. And there's different modes within Madden. We found a specific mode to focus on, and then we even changed that up a little bit so that we were unique in how we were positioning that, okay? Let me actually move this over a little bit and draw for you. So the marketing concept here is it's a blue ocean strategy. And so I want you to imagine an ocean, right, with only one shark in it. So let's say there was only one Madden creator. Okay, everyone goes to watch Madden. You're the only person there. There's not much competition. But as more people start watching and it grows, more people get interested. They want a piece of that pie. There's more sharks, okay? There's more sharks, and then so there's more competition. And in that, the waters become bloodied because all of that competition is there. Everyone's doing Madden content. But then what if you can take a certain category in Madden and then come off here? Let's say everyone is doing, they're playing head-to-head gameplay. You come out over here into a fresh ocean and you start opening packs within an ultimate team mode, right? And then okay, you're the only one over there. You're eating great. Again, we can even take this out of Madden for people that aren't video game watchers. Let's say you have the first personal computer here. All right. You're the only computer. Everyone's feeling it. Yay. Then competition comes in and it gets bloodied. But then someone comes out and they say, all right, well, let's make the first laptop. Right? And then there's only one laptop. But guess what? The market grows. Competition grows. There's more sharks that come in. And we can't change our color back. There it is. All right, more sharks come in, and then what happens? The same thing, it becomes bloody, okay? And so it's this idea of wanting to position yourself in a way where you don't really have competition, and that allows you to pull from an existing market, but be unique about what you're doing, all right? And so think about the main market that you may have. Let's move over. Let's give us a little more space. So consider whatever your main market is. Let's say it is, e-com, right? E-commerce, drop shipping. Okay, so first you just got e-com, and then you have drop shipping. Are you a stay-at-home mom? Are you a 16-year-old teenager, right? Drop shipping for teenagers, drop shipping for busy fathers, stay-at-home dads, right? When you can niche it down, there's less people that you're competing with, okay? And so you can become more of an authority, but this also helps you because you can speak more to their passions, to their pains, the things that actually move them in life. So I could say, hey, let me just coach men. All right, that's one thing. Or I could say, hey, let me coach married men. That's one thing too. Okay, let me coach married men with children. That's another thing. But just based off my unique experience, think of how much value I can provide to married men with children plus a business. So married entrepreneurial men with children. Okay, based off of the unique experiences that I've been through, the ups, the downs in my business with my family. Okay, now when I say something to this man, it can be far more specific because you could be an 18-year-old kid fresh out of high school, no kids, no romantic partners, and you're a man. It's a little bit different, right? When you are 40, your kids got devices. Some of them start talking back now. And you got employees going through different issues, right? You're trying to keep the business operating smoothly. That's a different type of man with different type of problems, different things that he's worried about when he stays up at night. And I can speak directly to those. And when I can do that, my authority and my expertise is assumed at a much higher level because I'm explaining his problems better than he can even explain them himself. And you guys have this capacity to do it if you would just stop trying to be the best Fortnite player like everyone else. Or you just really thought about what you have to offer and niched down in a way that you could build authority, speak a more precise message. And then if you want to move up, you're just not starting from square one. Like some of you guys are square one trying to reach men, trying to reach gamers. And it's like, no. Go play a smaller game and maybe a smaller mode in that game. Become the authority there. Then move your way up the different modes in that game, then move to different games. That's what we did. I only focused on that pack opening stuff for a while. Then we did more Madden. Then I only focused on Madden. Then I did more games, right? But then I kept the games narrow, and then now I do more games. Now I don't even just do games. Now I'm coaching men, coaching content creators, right? But it all started with a focus. And way too many people are trying to go way too broad. Think of the biggest celebrity you know. The Rock started with wrestling. Then he had all the tequila and the movies and all of that. Conor McGregor, right? He had the UFC. Then he had all of his stuff that he's doing. Whoever you can think of, they had that one thing. And so we got way too many people, all right, watching from the outside. So they say an iceberg, when you see it in the ocean, 2/3 of it is actually underneath the ocean. So the bigger part is underneath the ocean. So the things that you see from a content creator that you're trying to emulate, it doesn't work because there's so much more going on underneath the hood. So you got to be careful. Sometimes you see people that are successful diversifying their income, diversifying their attention. That is a strategy once you get to a certain level. But when you're small, you want to focus. You got to focus, okay? And first off, you get past that one lie, you've made a huge improvement, and you're doing better than most people in your approach, okay? Lie number one is believing that the views are most important when it's not. It's the who. All right, I took a long time on that one. Let's try to speed through the rest of these. All right, number two. I'm writing these as more of a principle, but I'm going to frame them as the lie that people believe. The lie is that believing that people care. What do I mean by that? Believing that the platforms care about you. Okay? At the end of the day, YouTube is its own business. It wants to keep you happy at a certain level because it keeps them in business. But at the end of the day, they have their own best interests in mind, okay? Same with the sponsors. I've had sponsors talk to me like we were best friends. We were going to be friends to the end. And if something changed, right, in the market or in views, okay, and again, things can be out of your control. Some of the markets we have been a part of have been up and down like you are seeing. There's not much you can do when you're a gym in COVID and can't no one go to the gym, okay? There's very few things you can do when markets are going bad. Now you can get creative. You can still try to do certain things. But if, again, you're in the phone book business, you can only expect so much. And so you want to be able to navigate these ups and downs and still have control. Because if you're dependent on a platform or dependent on a sponsor or even dependent on your followers or just the people that are viewing your content, you could be setting yourself up for a roller coaster of a business and of emotions. And so to counteract this, we want to stop. How do we not become dependent on all of these? Again, still accept the money from the platform, sponsors, anything like that. But you want to become your own business. Okay. You want to become your own platform. And it's never, ever been easier to do that. It's never been easier to get a product or a service or something out there that you can use. So now you're the business. So instead of you giving your efforts to the platform, you take your efforts and it doesn't just stop you. You're sending that traffic to your product or your service, building your customer list, right? And that's what allows you to have consistency, all right, both in peace of mind, in business, in revenue. And you're not worried when, you go from December to January or early parts of the year and CPMs drop, or you're on Twitch and your subscribers drop, or again, whatever, even if they're saying, again, your market could tank. But when you have a solid customer base that you can depend on, that gives you a moat around your business and gives you safety. Man, there was a time where YouTube just straight up took our comments for years. Some of you guys were around for that. I had a rep at YouTube, at Google, that I would talk to face to face, right on the little Google, whatever their whatever their Zoom stuff is. Because of course we wouldn't have Zoom calls. It would be on the Google calls. I would look her in her eyes. She couldn't even tell me why. She's like, I'm gonna try to figure it out. I'm talking month after month, no answer. What you mean? And she's over there campaigning for me, trying to do these things, but it's like, it's not my business. Comments just gone. And then they gave them back. There was no sorry. It wasn't like, yeah, we noticed that your certain metrics started dropping because people couldn't comment. Certain people just left. Certain people are coming back still to this day, are like, oh, you're back. I didn't know you had comments. It's like, what? And it's like, it's just their business. There's all, again, not to hate on algorithms. There's a lot of good things about the algorithm. But again, you could have good content that people want. It could provide value. But if the algorithm don't want to serve it to them, it just is what it is, right? And so you have to play into that. Again, I've had sponsors do the same thing. I've had sponsors be super buddy until they realize that we say God first, God bless at the end of all of our videos. And they were like, yeah, but can you take that out? I was like, nope. And then so they cut ties. They didn't want, or it was the first video in the deal. So it wasn't even like we had things going. But, do you want to be dependent on that? Do you want to have, if that's important to you, is that something you still want to be able to say? Because I know people that have had similar situations and needed the money so bad that they were in a conflict of character. When you are your own sponsor and you realize that the only reason and the fact that they're sponsoring you is because there's more money in what they're doing, you start to become your own sponsor, okay? And then you will have people turn on you again. We love Jesus. We're not weird about it. We're nothing but loving about it, but we're just not going to not be about it. And some people don't like that, okay? And again, the consistency comes when you are the business, not feeding YouTube's, Google's, TikToks, or whatever's business. And so really quickly, sometimes people will say, all right, that makes so much sense, Dion, but I'm new to the game. Help your boy out, help your girl out. I don't even know what to sell. I'm going to go through this quickly. I could spend all day on this. This could be its own 2-hour workshop. And so I won't go over everything, but hopefully this helps you think through it, all right? And hopefully you've been taking notes on this whole thing. Now, first off, let's go through the acronym of SALE, all right? And this will just get your mind, not that you want to sell these things specifically, but these will help put you into the mindset of understanding skills and qualities that you might have that could be marketable, okay, and profitable to you. And so first, think of just any skills that you have, right? Things that you have learned to do. Think of different situations you have been in, both good, bad, ugly. Some of the most ugly situations have produced some of the biggest life lessons and skills in that moment, right? Some of the most best survival experts are people that have been in tough, challenging positions, women that have had rape attempts on them, people that have been stranded and had to survive in the wilderness, right? Things of that nature. Think through, now moving on to A, think through your authority plus any awards. So do you have any titles or any status you've earned in school, in a job, on the side, any awards you won? Okay, any accomplishments, any trophies. Then moving on to the L, any lessons you've learned. Okay, just learning, because in the information age, people will pay to know what you know, right? Especially if you can deliver it to them in a meaningful way, in a very well packaged way. Also think through your lifestyle, again, both good and bad. Sometimes your style. I'm sorry, your story is a book. Okay. Also think through, again, experiences you've been through. Think of any extremes you have been in, extremes you're willing to go through. All right. And again, just some examples of these. Extreme, of course, can be like extreme sports, extreme this. You could be an extreme guide, teach people how to do extreme parkour or whatever. But you also could have some equipment that I was watching a short yesterday that someone had like an extreme lens where you could zoom in and see like the finer points of a pen to the point where you see the ink come out. It was like, whoa, that was cool, right? And then so now that you have these different things, I want you to match that to the block on the right where you have the do-it-yourself model. This is where you give something to someone where they just got to figure it out, or it's just there's nothing for you to do after it's been delivered. Okay. So even think of like a t-shirt on this end. So you could have skills in graphic design, and you could do it yourself in terms of just selling those graphics on t-shirts, on posters, things like that. You also could put together a course that teaches people how to be as good as you are at graphic design. Or you could do Done With You, where you kind of coach them. This is like a coaching program. This is how a lot of my life coaching program works, where you're doing something and I'm helping you or doing it alongside of you. You can have a lot of people in the group. So maybe instead of having a course, you have a coaching program where you're teaching people your skill. And you're like, hey, all of you guys get together on Sundays. I'm going to do this live call. We'll work over it together. I'll look at your own work. I'll review it. And you can see how that's more valuable, but that also requires more of your time. But that means you can also charge more for that, right? But then you have the Done For You. So maybe that's like, okay, I'm not going to give you a course to do it yourself. Or I'm not going to walk you through doing the graphics yourself. I'm almost like an agency, right? And you hire me to do the work, right? Your business, you need logos, you need whatever, boom, I'll just do it for you, okay? And they're saving time, they're saving energy, but it's going to cost them more. But you can try to take all of these and kind of work it through that framework. And then you can even try to mess with it like, do I want to go B2B, like business to business, and go for like higher level business corporate clients, or do I want to go B2C, more consumer based? So you could have had an amazing experience traveling, and you could put something together to help someone else have an amazing experience in the Bahamas, right? Do it yourself. Or maybe it's like, hey, do you want me to plan the trip for you and customize it just for you, right? I'm going to make sure you get the most affordable flights. Oh, I'm going to have some stuff on AI a little bit later that'll make all this stuff easier too. Like, I'll find all these things for you. I'll plan it out based off of all of your unique things that you have, right? How many kids do you have? Okay, you need this kind of suite, all that. Boom. Don't worry, I'll handle it. I will personally book everything for you and make sure I'm on call for anything you need that I can handle remotely, like reservations, blah, 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 while you're out. That's a higher package, less work on them, right? I'm sorry, that was more like a Done For You that I jumped to. Done For You, but maybe Done With You, right? You have some sort of tool you have in the interim that helps them do it, right? You can build a tool to help them lower their prices on their trips, or you review it, right? Something that's interacting with them. And so take all of that, think through. And you see, it could be as small as an experience you've had traveling, and now your content is about you traveling and you're trying to help people do the same thing. It could be as simple as video games, man. And like I said, been able to make a big splash in video games. Probably every other niche out of that is so much easier. Video games is the hardest. You got the people with the most time. Kids will play all day. It's changing daily. People's taste for it. Like, there'll be a game that took 5 years to make, and people are sick of it in 5 days, right? On to the next. So it's always something new. But so many other industries, almost everything outside of that moves so much slower, so much easier. And so think through that. You not to say gaming isn't possible. Like I said, I've done it, been doing it over a decade, but a lot of you guys might have an easier fight if you niche down and do something that you care about a little bit more. Okay, there was a lot there. Man, hope you are taking notes. I think we're going to move on to 3 now. I honestly thought I was going to talk a little bit faster, man. I was trying to get you guys out of here, so I'm going to try to really get through this one quickly. But this might be the most important one, even though most people want to look past it, and they believe the lie that they can't be the problem, that the problem is always external. The problem is that their CPM needs to be better, that they got to do better thumbnails. And I do think that plays a role, but every time in every industry, literally life comes down to you and your inner experience. Everything you do on the outside is to feel a certain way on the inside. And if you can't master the inner game, you'll never be happy. I promise you. This is how I got to the point where I wanted to put a gun to my head. Okay. And please understand that if the rich, or like I said, the happiness was in anything external, everyone that had that would be happy. Okay. And if you can tell that that's not the case, hopefully that sends you on an internal introspective journey. And this is a framework I've seen by Alex Hormozy that is one of the best ways I've seen to illustrate the theory of constraints and how to look at personal success in a sustainable way. So I want you to look at this as like a ladder where you have beliefs, which is this pillar right here. I'm sorry, this column on the left, right? And then you have your traits, which is right here on the right side. And then in the middle, up the little rungs on the ladder, are your skills. And I think this is a great way to illustrate how success can go and how you can even limit yourself. So a lot of people will have great beliefs, right? They believe they're made in the image of the ultimate creator. They believe success is possible. It's successful for them. It's possible for them. They have great traits like they're disciplined, they're honest, they have integrity, right? They're prompt, but they don't know a dang thing. Like they don't have very many skills. So no wonder you're not making much money. Your relationship isn't going well. Like you need skills in your relationship. Okay. Your beliefs in your relationship matter. And so let's flip it like this. Maybe you're a content creator and you've watched every video. You're like, Dion, my thumbnails are perfect. My titles are perfect. I have all the skills. Okay. And you're consistent. You've been doing it for 8 years. You're persistent. You keep faith. You're determined, right? You're eating healthy, all of these things. But you got some limiting beliefs. Okay. You will always be limited to your lowest investment out of these 3. And so you could have all of these skills built up, but once you fix this limiting belief, often that's when you see people shoot up and take and have major success. This is why my coaching programs in general can go so well. Of course mine, but I'm not the only coach to have ever helped people in life. But the reason that works so well and why you should really consider having a coach is because sometimes you don't know the belief that you're missing. You don't know the skills that you're missing, or you don't know the character deficiency that's missing. But someone that has seen the problem that you've seen 100 different times, worked someone through it 100 different ways, can be like, oh, just from talking to you, they're like, oh, so you believe this about that? No, ninja. It's not about the views. It's about the who's, right? Oh, belief changes. Now I apply my skills correctly along with the character traits. Boom, I take off. Okay. And of course I can walk you through so many different examples to try to help you get that. But I want you to look at it on that spectrum, on what skills do I need to build in this area? Like find the area that's frustrating you and assume that there's an ignorance there in either skills, character traits, or beliefs. Find that, and then you should see success, and you should start moving up. But again, this can be hard to do if you don't know what you don't know. And all of this stuff I'm learning, all of this knowledge, all of the wisdom, right, starts with me. I'm learning. And as I go out and apply things, I get my own understanding on it. And so if you are struggling with ignorance, what's the only way to fix that? The light of knowledge. Go learn something like you're doing here. And hopefully that's doing something for you. Okay. And so let's do a quick recap. And these are the 3 lies that are killing these careers of content creators. Number 1, focusing on the view over the who. Get correct on the who, exactly who you're serving, serve them in a high level way, speak to their pains, their passions. Then you can put something in front of them, okay, that is easy for you to sell, that is going to be a good experience for them to buy, right? And this gives you the stability in a very turbulent, not just time, like for content creators, but in a time for the world. Like some of the most stable people over this next couple of years will probably be content creators. I don't even want to act like an expert, but I'm sure we are all anticipating some uncertain times moving forward. And job security seems to be not like it was. And then third, remember that the third lie is that you can't be the problem. The problem is everything else out there, when it really is you. You are always the biggest problem. And you get you right, your business, which is an extension, which is an outgrowth of you, will be right. You lock in on those three things. You focus on those three truths. I promise you, okay? I promise you, you will move with more clarity, both in who you are, your mission. You'll have more consistency in your output in the world around you, both with your finances and your followers. And then you will have more confidence in who you are and what you are doing, okay? It won't come overnight. And I understand if you're thinking, man, that was good stuff. Some of it's a little easier said than done. Please be patient with yourself and know that and that your success will be in direct proportion to the sacrifice you're willing to put into this. Okay? You will have to go out of your comfort zone to learn some of these skills. You will have to try new things, but if you do that, your situation can change. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it blessed you. If it did, man, send your boy a little message, man. Give me a little shout out over on Instagram.com/DionDoes. I just like to hear from you, man. You can throw it on your story. You can send me a DM. Like, it honestly would bless your boy. All right. And if you made it this far and all of this made sense and you remember what I said at the beginning and you're like, yo, I'm trying to hear what you got to offer, Dion, I want you to continue listening. Okay. Now, please hear me out, though. My sales strategy is a little bit different. I'm going to be honest. My goal isn't to try to more so convince you to buy. It's going to be to actually push some of you guys away and qualify you. And it's more so if you make it to the end and nothing I say deters you or makes you want to click off this video, not only do I think you should buy, I think you should do it ASAP. Let's get going and let's try to change your life. Okay, I think that's the kind of client I want. Someone it's a no-brainer, not trying to twist your arm, not trying to make you do it. That's not a mature sales process. Okay, and so there's no hardcore closing. But if you watch to the end of this, all I would ask, be man enough, be woman enough to just make a decision. Okay, and I just want to give you all the information for you to do that. And so let's move forward. But what I want to talk about is what I call the creator blueprint. And that really just fleshes out everything step by step on exactly what you're going to need to build a profitable full-time content creation business. Okay. And this is what allowed me to go from just starting out in the game, getting respectable checks. And you got to remember, I was coming off of years and years and years of semi-failed marketing. I say failed semi because I don't think it was really failure. When you got to understand that all work works. Okay. Sometimes you got the work that the work is doing on you. And then sometimes there's the work that you doing on the work. Right. So this is you and you are doing work on a thing. Right. Sometimes the thing doesn't work how you want, but you grow and you learn and the thing is working on you and just setting you up for the future. Right. David didn't train for Goliath by fighting giants. Okay, just as a shepherd, he was out there having fights with lions, bears, oh my. And that prepared him for the moment. And it actually worked very similar for your boy. And all those marketing skills, I think, got me to a decent start in this opportunity. But because of that, I was able to really nail in on the principles I'm going to show you now. And I was able to scale that stuff quickly to the tune of doing some high multiple 5-figure months. And I'm talking from just one income stream. What would it look like for you if you were able in 48 hours just to generate an extra $3,500? Okay. And this is like stuff I was able to do early on in my career. You won't need 10 years to do this, but you'll have my 10 years of wisdom, 10 years plus baked into this. And that's just on a content creation level. We're getting deep into some of the marketing and sales strategies too. But what if in 11 days you can generate $9,600? Like, what would that do for you? Just an extra 11 days, extra income. What about 21K in 16 days, right? This is the type of income that's possible, that's available when you just take the time to invest in a few skills and learn how to do things like a professional and not move like an amateur. All right, your boy is back. I hope you guys got something out of that. If you did, please let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, maybe I can make any follow-up videos expanding on this. But like I mentioned at the beginning, the offer we initially had in the program that we had with this is not available anymore. But I do have something else linked down in the description. I have my Inner Circle. This is a community of content creators. We meet weekly. We have a free community. You can have support. But most importantly to me, you have a 4-dimensional approach to the game. Most people, and actually I'll write this out a little bit. Let me give myself a little room. Most, and I'm gonna be honest, I can't even remember in that web class how much have I even touched on the 4 dimensions, but I believe life is 4-dimensional in nature. I also believe it's infinite. Like, you can't win it. Like, life as a whole, you don't get to a certain place and credits roll. Life is an infinite game, and so the point of the game is to stay playing. That's also the same for your faith, your relationships, your mental, physical health, and your finances. Now, most people try to do their business as a 1-dimensional dummy. And what I mean by that is they'll sacrifice their relationship with God, their family, and even their personal health. Go watch the videos, man. Like, early in my career, your boy was getting chunky, okay? I grew up an athlete, usually always in some sort of shape. Man, I just didn't have a system for juggling being successful, being connected to God, keeping my marriage healthy, being there for my kids, and me being in shape, and being sharp mentally. These are things that we're just willing to sacrifice as men. I won't waste your time here and try to explain that, but I think that is a grave, grave mistake. And I learned that firsthand. All of these dimensions need to be prioritized at the same time. And I call this the have it all lifestyle. It is possible. Okay. This isn't some crazy, weird pipe dream that can't happen. You can be thriving in the dimensions of your faith, your relationships, your mental, physical health, and finances. And that community is more about having a system that will help you, of course, thrive in your content business, but not at the expense of all of these. And I have never seen a community that does that in the way that we do it at some of our higher levels, which are available deeper once you're in the Inner Circle. But we even get into like gamifying things, some really good life coaching. And so if that tickles your fancy and that sounds interesting, then you should click the link below and check out the Inner Circle, because I think it could be for you. It's not a free opportunity, all right? But it is worth it if you're serious about what you're doing. All right. So check that out in the description, and I'll see you on that page. God first. God bless.